Coca 2005 sent me this article, and we are headed to the Mormon state, Utah. It's been a while since we've been in the Mormon state, and if y'all know anything about the Mormon state and any videos that I've done about Utah, there's very rare instances where anything good comes out of that state. I don't think I had any good story come out of this state, and this one is no better. And this is going to touch on a topic slightly of something that I have not discussed on my channel in quite some time. So if you are new, prepare to be disgusted. So in this picture, you see a tech CEO by the name of Douglas Saltzman, and he was just recently sentenced to jail for the crime of having 13,000 plus files of infant and child rape and bestiality. Now, anything that contains documents of that kind should definitely get one of the harshest penalties ever. Not this guy, not according to this judge though. This guy only got sentenced to 210 days, not 210 months, not 210 years, not even 210 weeks. He got sentenced to 210 days in jail for the crime in which he committed. Now people are firing off on the judge, and rightfully so, for such a light sentence. An online petition to remove Judge Douglas Hogan gathers nearly 10,000 signatures after his sentencing of Utah Tech CEO Douglas Saltzman on Thursday was perceived as light by many. A judge sentenced admitted pedophile and former Utah CEO Douglas Saltzman to 210 days in jail and 48 months probation on Thursday for possessing more than 13,000 files of graphic child pornography, some of which involved rape and bestiality. Saltzman was facing 1 to 15 years in prison and a $10,000 fine for each of the 3 second-degree felonies of which he pled guilty. Saltzman, age 40, was originally facing 11 charges related to the seizure of more than 13,000 files of graphic child pornography in August 2019. Newly revealed in court Thursday was the fact that some of the child pornography files Saltzman admitted to viewing and sexually gratifying himself to also featured bestiality. Considered by many to be a computer genius, Saltzman was the founder of a now defunct blockchain and cryptocurrency company, which was based in Sandy. However, Judge Douglas Hogan suspended those recommendations, giving Saltzman 210 days in jail, saying, "I'm going to suspend the imposition of the statutory terms. I'm going to place Mr. Saltzman on probation with adult probation and parole for a period of 48 months. Consistent with the parties' stipulated agreement, Mr. Saltzman will serve 210 days in jail. Credit for the time served up to this point is 148. That leaves an outstanding balance to be served." Like that really makes a difference. Upon completing the total of 210 days, he may be released to adult probation and parole and supervision. He's to check in immediately, which means within 48 hours, he'll be subject to group A sex offender conditions. He'll need to undergo and complete successfully sex offender treatment and therapy. He will also need to undergo a drug and alcohol evaluation and comply with any recommended treatment. Mr. Saltzman is going to be incumbent upon you when you meet with your probation officer. Make sure you completely understand all of those conditions. During the sentencing, prosecutor Cynthia Polson pointed out that in his pre-sentencing evaluation, Saltzman only talked about himself and how the charges affected him. How typical of someone who is so privileged and so spoiled. There was never any mention of the victims, the prosecution told Judge Hogan. Judge Hogan allowed Saltzman to address the court, which is within his rights. And they basically have his video down below. They basically did this whole thing via like a video call. During his sentence, Saltzman said, "I just want to say that every day I wake up to shame, guilt, regret, and disgust. When I did the psychosexual evaluation, all I could think about was confusion and compulsive behaviors, talk about downloading, viewing, and masturbating to child pornography. I didn't understand why I would think these things. I started seeing a psychiatrist right after that. I was prescribed medication, and I began therapy. That's when I started to understand some of the deeper mental issues. I learned that my self-destructive behavior matches my self-hatred. what I was trying to share with my AP&P. Mrs. Paulson was right. I didn't see the victims then. I saw it was only affecting myself. Now I see the victims. I just want to continue getting help. I want to repair the damage I have done that I see that I have done. I want to be able to look at myself in the mirror. I'm sorry. I'll make sure this never happens again. You'll never see me. The details of the sordid case began when Saltzman was first busted by police on May 7, 2019, after searching his home and seizing his electronic devices. Police submitted the child pornography files to the law enforcement portal of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, where 279 of the submitted files depicted known identified child victims. Police first investigated child pornography when they were alerted to an internet provider address that was sharing child pornography using a peer-to-peer file sharing program. The first file, according to documents, was a compilation video of prepubescent girls under 8, some as young as toddlers, being raped. Investigators obtained a search warrant, and the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, known as the ICAC, helped execute the search. According to documents, child sex abuse imagery involving toddlers and prepubescent children was found on a laptop, a black computer, an SSD storage device, and an SD card. The children were bound and raped. Police also found disturbing videos of Douglas Saltzman engaged in sexual intercourse with several unconscious women on the seized devices. They also said they found a clandestine drug lab of some sort in a downstairs bedroom closet and called the Sandy Fire Department and hazmat team to make sure the chemical lab was not a public safety hazard. Saltzman made his first court appearance in December 2019. Let's see here. Let me see if there's some more additional information here. It says Saltzman's sentencing documents state the following. Counsel requests no further jail time for the defendant, and this is restitution to be determined. The prosecutor shall determine restitution and file a restitution order with the court to remain open per statute. Based on the defendant's conviction of sexual exploitation of a minor in a second-degree felony, the defendant is sentenced to an indeterminate term of not less than 1 year nor more than 15 years in the Utah State Prison. Based on the defendant's conviction of a sexual exploitation of a minor in a second-degree felony, the defendant is sentenced to an indeterminate term of not less than 1 year nor more than 15 years in a state Utah prison. And then they basically suspended all of that and gave him 210 days. Now, reading all of that, does anyone think that this guy should have gotten only 210 days? Like, that was a lot to grasp and take in what I just read there. Like, this guy had files on top of files on top of files of child pornography, children being raped, and bestiality, which means animals were also involved. And they said that there was videos of him pleasuring himself while that was playing, and videos of him having sexual intercourses with unconscious women. I'm telling you, he did this because he's a CEO, but he looks like a creep. He is a creep. And because PC. And you wonder why, when you look under the category of rape under the FBI crime stats, why they lead in that category. This man is sick, and so is the judge. I don't know what the judge heard or did not hear for him to give him such a light sentence. But I always, like, this is not surprising. It's not new. This takes me back to Brock Turner. This is worse than Brock Turner, by the way, but it just takes me back to Brock Turner. He raped that girl behind that dumpster, and she was drunk, and his dad gonna say, my son's life gonna be ruined for 20 minutes of pleasure. And I'll say this and I'll say it again. The son, the dad, and the judge, all three of them are sick. The son is sick for the act. The dad is sick for even saying that out of his mouth. And the judge, Aaron Persky, who's no longer there, is sick for even allowing that to slide. That POS was supposed to get years. It got reduced 2 times, and he only got 3 months. The only good thing that came out of this is the fact that he had to serve as a lifetime as a sex offender, and that he tried to get it removed from his record, but they denied it. That's the only good thing that came from it. So he basically couldn't find gainful employment, because they wasn't going to hire him. People already knew about that story. They wasn't about to give him a job. I don't know what Brock Turner is doing now. I really don't care. But just make sure he's doing it in complete isolation. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments, and I'll talk to you in the next one.